Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm gonna try out my mom's new iPhone 6 video, which is 1080p 60 frames per second compared to my iPhone 5, which is I think it's still 1080, but it's 30 frames per second. And today's project is gonna be replacing the rear output shaft seal on the NP205 transfer case because there is a leak.
I'll show you on the back of the transfer case. And you can see the leak coming out from the bottom of the slip yoke. And I noticed there's drips coming off the bottom of the transfer case, so I followed the drips all the way up to the top, and it looks like it's coming out of the back of where the slip yoke goes in there. So we got a seal at Napa. I'll show you the part number later. And we're going to replace that seal, and hopefully that fixes the leak. Here's the seal that I got at Napa. Part number is 21213, and we're going to use that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is pull off this rear drive shaft so we can access the slip yoke and pull it out. We're probably going to have to take off the hanger bearing to get that out. So we'll do that. Okay, so to get access to the slip yoke, I took the hanger bearing out and then unbolted the drive shaft from the slip yoke, and then I could just slide it back a little bit because there's a slip here, and then I just put the drive shaft over here. So now we have access to the slip yoke, and we're going to take this large nut off next. Okay, first before we do anything, we're going to pull the VSS out because we don't want to destroy the teeth in there when we're pulling back on this. I'm not too sure if they interfere or not. They may interfere. So as a precaution, we're gonna pull this out. Okay, so this nut on the back of the slip yoke here is a size 1 5/16. We just checked the toolbox and we don't have that size socket, so we're gonna have to run to the store and grab one. So. Okay, we went to the store and picked up a 1 5/16 inch socket, and now we're gonna take that nut off. Okay, so we're gonna end up having to pull this next retainer off because I tried to pull the seal out here. The seal goes here. I tried to pull that out using a puller of some sort, but it didn't work out. As you can see, the little dents in it there. I tried to get something behind it and pull it out, but that didn't work out, so we're gonna pull this off and then just bang it out from the back side. Okay, I just pulled this next retainer off. Took all the bolts out and it didn't want to come off, so I had to use the BFH to give it a little bit of persuasion to come off. Now I'm gonna clean up this surface to get all the old gasket off, and then since I don't have a new gasket, I'm just gonna use RTV around here when we put it back on. Alright, so here's the seal on the retainer there. Tried using a punch to get it out, and that didn't work. It wasn't budging. So we just used a pair of vice grips, as you saw there, and twisted on it, and it collapsed the seal, and that brought it out. So we're going to clean up that surface really well, and then put in the new seal. Alright, so here's the new seal and the cleaned up surface on the retainer. So the yoke is going to slip in from this side. The seal's on the outside, so that's going to go in here like that. Not this way with the spring out. So you want it like that. Alright, so we're just going to apply a light little coat of oil on the surface of the retainer and on the outside of the seal so it can slide in well. And what we're just going to do is place this on top and then hammer lightly with a flat hammer all the way around and slowly tap it into place. Okay, the seal's in now. What we did was just use a body hammer to get it started, and then once it was on, put a piece of hardwood over top and made sure it was flat, and then just drove it down all the way until it was flush with the surface. Okay, I'm applying the RTV now to the retainer, and then we'll put it on the truck. The instructions on the RTV says to apply the bead and then go finger tight with the bolts, wait an hour, and then tighten them down to torque specs, which is 40 foot-pounds on the bolts. Okay, so I put this on now with the bolts finger tight. RTV is spilled out a little bit around all the outside, which is good. We're gonna wait an hour and then torque those down. So the new seal's on, and the RTV's on there. And I've also noticed, just in the process of doing this whole repair here, there's also a small rubber gasket that just sits on the end of the splines here. And I don't have a new one of these, so if after this whole repair it still leaks, this may be the culprit, then I'll have to order that and change that. But that's okay because that's easy. I don't have to take the rest of this off and replace the seal again, or the one back here. So we'll just keep that in mind if it still leaks after this. Alright, so it's been an hour now, and it's time to torque these down to 40 foot-pounds. Alright, so this little seal here that I was talking about earlier, I pulled it off, and since we don't have one right now, a new one, we're just gonna take some black RTV and throw some around the outside splines here of the seal, and then around the inside as well, where it sits here. And hopefully no oil will seep through once it's all dried, because that seals the inside of there. If you can see that in there, it just sits in the splines, and then it just goes through there. So with RTV on both sides, hopefully no oil will leak through there. And yoke is going on. There we go. Into the new seal. Look at that. So that's the seal there. It might even help just to throw some RTV around here, which I just might do. Just take your good finger here and give her a good gob around. This is a trick I learned on the internet. There we go. That'll dry, and then it'll be sealed. Alright, so we're going to put this large washer back on, and then this nut. And I'm pretty sure the foot poundage on this is 130 foot-pounds. Okay, so we put the VSS back in, tighten that back up, and then we threw the drive shaft back on. When you're throwing the drive shaft back on, make sure to attach it at the yoke first. So this is adjusted to where it needs to be, and then you can tighten that to the frame, the hanger bearing to the frame. Okay, so now the RTV needs to dry for 24 hours, and then we can do a test drive and check for leaks. First we're going to wipe everything down, and then before we do the test drive, and then that way we'll be able to tell if there's any new leaks or not. Alright, we took the truck for a test drive, and it's been sitting now for a day, and there's no leaks coming out the back, it looks like, so mission success so far. Looks like the RTV on the back bit worked, and the seal worked, and the RTV at the front that we replaced there worked as well. So thanks for watching.